Hey guys, Andy here, again. I realised I did a video yesterday on the Made by Google event, and I've kind of been, the more I thought about it, I thought I didn't really talk much about the phone and what I thought, I suppose. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I've been involved in a lot of discussions online about the device. Some people are really upset by it. I don't know, I guess because they wanted it to be a certain thing and it came out as something else. And that just really upset them, I think, which I kind of get, but at the same time they go on and on. Anyway, but I thought, let's have a video on kind of the good and the bad. Is it a worthwhile upgrade? Because I don't think I said yesterday, but I have ordered the Pixel 4 Oh So Orange, which is only available in 64 gig. But I think it looks amazing. We'll come to that in a little while, I suppose. So I have ordered that. It's due on the 30th, I think. So obviously there'll be an unboxing and there'll be a review of that. But I thought I'd do this video and perhaps open up to some discussion in the comments down below. So please do comment on your thoughts. Keep it civil though. Let's not get sort of bitching at each other. Everyone's entitled to their views. So the good, I think one of the things that was perhaps skipped over by a lot of people is the neural chip. So I really like the look of that app, the voice dictation app that transcribed in real time. That could be really useful. Then the fact you can search the transcriptions to find those certain bits. And I don't think much was made of it, but I think that is based off the neural chip. So, because you might think, well, that's just an app that can be ported to other devices, but I'm not sure it can, because I think it uses the neural chip to be able to do it that quick. And that's how the Google Assistant can work that quick on the Pixel 4, because it's all done on the device. It's not being, normally you do the old OKG and it communicates with the cloud. That's what the delay is. But this neural chip allows it to be all done on the phone. So I think that's actually perhaps a bigger thing than a lot of people are realizing. Well, depending what your use case, maybe you don't use voice commands at all, in which case it's no thing. And this is the point. Some people won't use some of these features, other people will, and that's why it's a good phone for some and it's not a good phone for others. Then there's the camera. There was actually a lot of stuff in the camera that I think is actually really good. So the AI-based white balance sounds really clever, actually. And it's the kind of thing, a lot of the things that they've put in are things that we won't necessarily notice. I think they just want to, I mean, they talked about this whole ambient computing and whatever, that you won't necessarily know that things are happening. They're just like, it's just a good photo. You won't realize that it's used AI to work out the white balance and it's taken the blue tint off. I mean, I've got one set of photos at a wedding where it was all pink and everybody's pink, everything's pink. I'm guessing the Pixel would have taken much better pictures, the Pixel 4, because it would work out the white balance better. The dual exposure, I think, could be really cool. If you ever used Photoshop, you'll know that you can kind of change the shadows and the highlights on a picture, and you can make quite a big difference. So to be able to do that in real time in the viewfinder, I think it's actually pretty massive. For some people who've got Photoshop and do that kind of thing, it's not so much because you probably just fix it in post. But to be able to do that and see it in real time to take the picture, I think actually is pretty big. And no other phone has that at this point. You can do exposure, but not dual shadow and highlights. Improved portrait mode. I'm not massively bothered by that. HDR Plus in the viewfinder, again, I think actually that could be quite cool. It's sort of thing that you perhaps don't realize when you were taking it, when you're taking a picture, you perhaps wouldn't realize that it's doing much. But again, you'll just see it, you'll take the picture, it'll look great, you won't know. But actually, yeah, that could be pretty big. Super zoom. I don't know, let's wait and see, I suppose. I guess I'm not a believer until I've taken some myself, I guess, to see. But if that works, if you really can get 8 times and it looks crisp, then could be good. Astrophotography, a little bit the same. I mean, it's kind of cool for a couple of photos, perhaps, but then after that, I don't do really, I'm sure, again, there's some people where it's probably a big thing. And the ultra-wide-angle front-facing camera could be quite handy. So last year's model had 2, and actually the wide-angle one was quite nice. This is apparently almost as wide as the ultra-wide-angle, sorry. So I think that's probably going to be quite useful. Then there's the screen. Now, I love that there's no notch. Some people won't like that there's a massive forehead, and that is mentioned down in the bad. And that it's then an imbalance, so there's a big forehead, there's not a chin. I think I'm okay with that. I guess we'll see in time and when I get one in the hand. 90 Hertz display. I think I turned that off on my OnePlus 7 Pro, to be honest. So I'm not sure how big a thing that is. I don't know that I noticed that, but again, to some people, it's almost this. I can't go back after seeing 90 Hertz. I can't go back. And apparently, it just looks great. The colours are very realistic. The colour, it just looks a really great screen. It's been rated very well. So I look forward to seeing that. obviously Android 10 with fast updates, and hopefully it's just super slick. That's almost a given with Pixel devices. And then throw in IP68 rated wireless charging, which I've not had for a little while with my OnePlus device. And then just the aesthetics. So I think it looks really good. Some people call it ugly. I think it's a nice, clean looking design. I've ordered the Oso Orange. I think that's going to be quite Marmite, but I love the look of it, having just seen it on screen. So I think how it looks is quite a big plus. So if we move on to the bad, the battery is one of the first things people are talking about. The Pixel 4 with 2800 and the XL with 3700. That's a lot lower. Well, it's not a lot. It's lower than most devices of that size. I don't want to judge it till I've used it, really, because I think Android's got a lot better optimizing. I have to feel that Google think that's enough. It's not often I get less than 50% in a day from most phones I use. So if I'm getting down to 30 instead, that's probably okay. It does only have 18 watts charging as well. So there's some devices coming out with 30 and 40 watts charging, and you'll get 80% in half an hour. 18 watts isn't going to do that. It's not going to be too bad. And again, that doesn't really bother me. I charge overnight. Well, probably less so because of fast charging. Sometimes I leave it overnight and just plug it in for an hour or so in the morning. But I don't think it's going to be a big issue having just 18 watts. Then I've got the Soli chip in the bad. I was a bit torn by this because I actually quite like the idea of it. When I'm laying in bed, I listen to podcasts, and when an advert comes on, basically I want to just skip through the advert. And at the moment on my OnePlus 7, I can draw an arrow on the screen, which isn't too bad. That skips. I don't have to turn it on. I have to find something to tap on the screen. There's been other devices. So the Note 9, I had a button that I could assign to be, the Bixby button I could assign to skip. So that was quite easy. But a lot of devices, you have to turn the screen on and hit the forward. So if I can literally just lean over the bed and just wipe, if that works, that'll be great. But it worries me that a few people have said that it's not that reliable. They couldn't get it working. MKBHD said 10% of the time, and that's pretty terrible. I also heard, I think though, that Soli is in alpha. So hopefully it's going to improve over the next, the coming months. And maybe they'll add more features because it's quite limited. I think literally it's skipping, and I suppose the whole dimming of noise. So if your alarm's going off, your hand gets near, it starts going quiet, things like that. Okay. But you can't just stop the music, for example. That would seem to be quite an obvious one. And the Soli then leads to the large forehead because there are a lot of sensors in that top array. I'm okay with that. I don't mind because I like all the sensors being there. And you could actually, I didn't put it on the list, but thinking about it, the lack of the fingerprint sensor, that has upset a lot of people as well. But having used the Mate 20 Pro with the face unlock, the Mate 20 Pros was really good, really fast, really reliable. Very few times did I have to rely on the fingerprint sensor. And the Pixel 4, by all accounts, should be even better and quicker. So I'm kind of okay that it's not got a fingerprint sensor, but we'll see. We won't really know until I get using it, I suppose. Then there's a few things with the camera. So there's no ultra-wide-angled lens. That did sort of annoy me. I think if I was given the choice of zoom or ultra-wide, I would have gone ultra-wide, especially if they've got super zoom where they can computationally, if they could have done it to a 4x with the computational bits and given us an ultra-wide, I would have thought that would be a better option. There's also no more full-size backup to Google Cloud, which they did up, I think, to the last year's Pixel. Again, I think my brother pays and we've got a family plan for like 2 terabytes, so I'm not that bothered. We've got about 1.8 terabytes spare. I can afford to back up full size anyway. And some people say, oh, that's what they're doing. They're pushing their cloud. They want to sell more. Maybe, but because then we come to the specs, in that it's only got 64 gig of storage. Well, the one I'm ordering it doesn't even have a 128 version. You can get one in 28 and some, but then the price leap is about £100, which is quite a bit. But I'm okay that it's a cloud device. There's hardly ever any times that I've not got a connection. And to be honest, if I can't get to a certain photo, it's unlikely. If you do a Venn diagram of when I've not got a connection and when I need a photo, it's probably a very unlikely section in the middle there. I'm okay with taking that risk, I suppose. No earbuds in the box, no adapter in the box. Again, I'm all right with that, but I guess I understand why that might be annoying for some. I haven't used a cable or an adapter for 3 or 4 years probably, so no problem to me there. One of the things that people are getting most upset about is the specs. So it's got the Snapdragon 855 and not the 855 Plus. It's a few megahertz, few gigahertz, it's 5 to 15% performance. It's only got 6 gig of RAM, not 8, not 12. For me, and the storage aspect, But for me, it's all about how smooth it is. If it's smooth, what are you worried about? And I guess some people talk about how it might close apps down, etc. I suppose I'm not a massive user of apps. I don't have a lot open. I'm not playing games. I'm not switching around them constantly. I'll open the phone up. I'll go to the app I need. I'll do whatever I need. And I'll come back out. That's generally me. I mean, 4 gig was probably enough on the Pixel 3. So I think 6 is going to be fine. But again, it's got some people really upset. You can't charge flagship prices for this specification. If you don't like it, don't buy it. It's fine. And that does come to the price, though. The Pixel 4 XL in 128 gig is £929, which is quite a lot. That's too much for me, really, which is partly why I've gone for the regular Pixel 4 64 gig OSO Orange. It cost me $669. I think that is quite a good price. I mean, I've not paid that little for what might be my daily phone for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years perhaps. So it's weird that you go up to, I think as well, 150, almost £200 to get to the XL, or you go up £100 to get the storage. If they started at $669 and it went up to $850, $869 perhaps for the 4XL 128, it would make a bit more sense perhaps. So there we go. Just my thoughts. I thought I'd just get them out there. As I say, please do comment down below with your thoughts. Let's get some debate going. Let's get some discussion. Let's keep it civil. I love a discussion. I don't like an argument. If this is one of my first videos you're watching, make sure you subscribe. Maybe have a look at some of the other videos I've done in my channel over here. And as I say, do comment down below. I do read all of them. That's all for now. My name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.